Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. This morning we are doing a webinar on tips and tricks of museum summer camps. One minute. Of course, we just tried advancing the slides and it worked perfectly, and now I can't get them to advance. Let's see. Hang on. There we go. Well, now it's going fast. Okay, here we go. Our partners today are the Florida Humanities, the Florida Arts and Culture, and Visit Florida. I'd like to introduce our Executive Director of FAM, Melinda Horton, and myself. I'm Laura Nimmers. I'm the Program Manager. Today we will have closed captioning available if you hit CC on your control panel. This presentation is being recorded, so you'll be able to have access to it in the future. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat box on the control panel, or you can unmute, but we will have some time for questions at the end. You'll also be getting an email in the future, hopefully pretty soon, for a feedback survey, and we appreciate all your comments or your suggestions for future webinars. Today, we'd like to thank our speakers. We've got Janet White. She's the Director of Education of the Museum of Science and Industry, and Hollis Much, the Museum Educator at the Appleton Museum of Art. Our first speaker today is going to be Janet White. So Janet, if you'd like to start, that would be fantastic.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. If you haven't started thinking about summer camps yet, it is definitely time to start thinking about summer camps for this summer. We are just doing a final edit of our summer camp catalog right now, so this is very timely. I am the Director of Education here at Mosey. I've been at Mosey for about 18 years. Prior to that, I was a teacher with Hillsborough County Schools for about 17 years. So yes, I'm old. All right. We're going to start with an icebreaker. I have 3 different questions to ask you. You're going to use, if you look at the Zoom tools in React, you're going to use either the heart emoji or the rocket emoji to answer this question. If you were given the opportunity, would you rather explore the deep ocean or travel to outer space with the ability to return safely to Earth? If you'd rather go to the ocean, use your heart emoji. If you'd rather go to outer space, use your rocket emoji. Oh, lots of oceans. Okay, more people seem to want to go to the ocean than to space. All right, here's your next would you rather. Would you rather travel back in time or travel to the future? Back in time is your heart emoji, and to the future is your rocket emoji. Lots of back in times, a few to the future. One more just for fun to get you in a playful mood today. Would you rather wear 3 hats at all times or never wear socks again? If you'd rather wear 3 hats at all times, use your heart emoji. Or if you'd never want to wear socks again, use your rocket emoji. More people don't want to wear socks. All right, you can tell we all live in Florida. All right, thanks for playing this morning. Always fun to do a little icebreaker to kick things off. So I'm just going to start with why should museums run camps help extend your mission. You can give the kids a deeper hands-on engagement than if they're just coming to the museum and exploring your exhibits. You can really dig deeper and go into more content. It helps you build lifelong connections between families and your institutions. We have several kids, believe it or not, who started at Mosey Summer Camp, became volunteers at Mosey Summer Camp, and actually we have 2 that are still employees at Mosey now. So you definitely can build those connections. And of course, camps generate revenue, support community needs, and can showcase what you can do as an institution. Mosey's camp, we have at least 10 camps per week. Sometimes we have 11 camps for all 10 weeks of summer. So we follow Hillsborough County Public Schools schedule. So they end on a Friday. We start camps that Monday. So this year it'll be Monday, June 1st. And we go all 10 weeks that they are out of school. So we end on a Friday and they start school on that Monday. We do pre-K through high school, really 11th grade. We have 22 to 25 campers per camp, except for preschool. Preschool, we do cap at 15. Our camp hours are 9 to 4, but we do offer extended care from 7 to 9 in the morning or from 4 to 6 in the afternoon, and that is at an additional rate. Our summer camp staff, because we offer so many camps, it can't just be Mosey employees. So we do have some of our Mosey education team that will teach some of the camps, but we also hire certified instructors. Usually they come from Hillsborough County or Pasco County. I have several that return year after year. They get paid a $700 weekly rate for working. They can choose to work. We ask them to work at least a minimum of 2 weeks. So they could choose to work 2 weeks. They can choose to work, oops, didn't mean to do that. They can choose to work 6 weeks, and it doesn't have to be consecutive. They give us what their schedule is going to be and we fill them in for camps. Ay, ay, ay. What did I do? We also hire teacher assistants. The teacher assistants are the ones who watch the kids in morning care, watch the kids at lunchtime, watch the kids in extended care. They also will go into camps and help teachers when they're not doing extended care or lunch duty. When you get those early sign outs, they go and hunt down the kids because they're not always in the camp room. They're often out exploring. And each week features a unique theme by grade level. So a first grader could come to camp all 10 weeks and never repeat a theme. They would get new content every week. That goes for all grade levels. This is just a sample of one of our camps. This happens to be our Don't Try This at Home for third grade. Discover the wild side of science in this thrilling camp where campers safely explore experiments too messy or explosive for the kitchen. From erupting volcanoes, exploding hot dogs, and fizzy explosions, campers will dive into hands-on activities that are as exciting as they are educational. So we do try to make them fun and want, the kids where they want to come so that they're learning, but they're just having fun and don't realize that they're learning. And for our curriculum, we do have past curriculum that we'll share with the teachers. But we like to let the teachers have fun during camp and try different things. So the teachers are given the description. If it says it in the description, it's something they have to cover that week. And then they come up with the activities and what they want to do for that week. Of course, we're here to help support. If they need ideas, we give them activities and ideas, and we order all the supplies. They have to send a supply list to us as well as their curriculum ahead of time so that we can look through it. But I think it makes it fun for the teachers to be creative. They're not having to match a standard every day. They just get to go explore science or engineering and have a good time. Some of the things that our tech camps offer, we have both science and tech camps. We have robotics. We do lots of Minecraft camps. Minecraft will outlive us all, I'm convinced. We do game design camps. We do coding, movie making, drones, and we have other technology focused camps as well. We do work with the Children's Board of Hillsborough County to offer 100 scholarships. We do 10 scholarships per week. So over the 10-week course, there's 100 of them. We also do 10 scholarships for our spring break camp as well. Some of our camps do go on field trips. Our Rocket Science, which is a 4th and 5th grade camp, and our Cosmic Ventures, which is a middle school camp, go to Kennedy Space Center. They both go on the same day so that we can just do one bus to save money. And our couple of our Mosey astronomers go with them so that they can help, add that in-depth space to it. So the day that they go to Kennedy Space Center, they have an extended day at camp. We ask them to be here at 7:45 because the bus leaves at 8 in the morning, and then they usually get back about 7 at night for their parents to pick them up. So it is a bit of a longer day, but the kids always learn and have a great time. Um, all of our high school camps go on some type of career focused field trip. Drone Zone went to the Pasco Sheriff's Office where they use drones for search and rescue and different things so that kids can see how what they're learning can apply to them in careers. And then instead of going to the Moffitt Cancer Center, when we have our Mosey MD class, Moffitt Cancer Hospital is right down the street from us. They send over several different specialists with hands-on activities, and they kind of take over the camp for an entire day. So it's a Moffitt day. And of course, with camps, there's also challenges. Keeping the camps fun and engaging for both the teachers and the campers for all 10 weeks is important to do. Ensuring that there's a variety from week to week. Not everybody should be doing the blow up the balloon experience with baking soda and vinegar, because many of our kids do come for multiple weeks. So we try to make the themes and descriptions different and have the teachers do different experiments, especially for the grade level. Most of our teachers will flip grade levels too. They won't just, I try not to give the same teacher, the same grade level, multiple weeks in a row. We try to flip them around just to keep it fresh in case there are kids who come multiple weeks and are in the same grade level, then they experience different teachers. And then of course, in a science center, you're always balancing safety with the excitement. You want to make sure what you're doing is safe, but you also know that the kids are going to be very excited. And so like when we do liquid nitrogen ice cream, we have to make sure maintain the safety boundary so that they don't jump up and touch the liquid nitrogen at all. And that's some things to not forget. Staff background checks is always something parents ask us about. We do a background check for anybody involved in summer camp, including our volunteers. We have high school volunteers that can earn their Bright Future hours. Make sure that you have allergy and medical protocols. So when parents call with so-and-so needs to take their medication, or we have this EpiPen, what are you going to do with it? Because parents want to make sure that their kids are safe and that you know what's happening. All of our Mosey staff are first aid and AED trained, CPR trained. Not necessarily every teacher is, but there's always plenty of Mosey staff on hand who are. Know how you're going to communicate with families. We send out when they register, they get sent a form that they have to fill out and bring back the first day. I will say that we still do paper pencil. We don't do digital. So the form that they have to fill out is a sign out form that has whoever they authorize to pick them up. If the person's name is not on there, we will not release the child to whoever came. We also have an emergency information form that they have to fill out that talks about emergency information, photo release permission, behavior. The behavior, they have to sign the behavior plan. And then they also get a frequently asked questions sheet and just some other information about drop off and pick up and how to contact the camp office. So I would just say the more you communicate ahead of time and that the families know ahead of time will help make your summer camp go much smoother instead of just trying to head off all the parents' questions at the last minute, which you will have some parents who have questions at the last minute because they didn't read the forms. But for the most part, make sure you have a well-defined sign in and out procedure. We check IDs of every parent that comes, even if it's week 9 and Billy has been here all 9 weeks. It's different teachers, it's different experiences. So we want to make sure that no matter what, even if you know the family, we always check the ID. Even if it's raining, they have to go back to their car and get their driver's license for the safety of the kids. And when you stress that to the parents, they don't get too mad about it. And plan how you're going to evaluate your camps. We have tried different things over the years. We tried going from a paper pencil system to a digital system where we just sent it out um, on Fridays at the end of camp digitally, like a Survey Monkey type thing or Google Forms. We found that we did not get very many of those back, that we got more back when we did paper pencil. So we switched back to paper pencil, which I know is ironic. We're talking about all the technology and trying to do higher level technology, but yet we're doing paper pencil evaluation. But we did find that's how we get the most feedback. And then the other thing not to forget is that teachers are going to have to adapt activities for different learning styles. We do have kids that come who are on the spectrum. We have kids who are ADHD, and we have kids who just, are kids. So you want to make sure that your teachers are flexible and able to adapt whatever they're planning on doing for the kids that they have. And I think it is now Hollis's turn.
Thank you so much, Janet. So I'm Hollis. I'm in charge of the education at the Appleton Museum of Art. I've been part of it since 2017, and my first day of work was the first day of summer camp, so it felt like I was jumping on a moving train. Now, when I loved everything Janet just told you. I questioned about her the first time I met her because I love to know how other museums operate, how they handle like check in, check out, what is it that they do, just to see because it might be different in your location. So in my PowerPoint that I have here, I'm going to show you I'm going to show you an overview of what the Appleton actually looks like. And this is the Appleton Museum of Art. We're in Ocala, Florida, about 2 miles down the road from Silver Spring State Park. And you'll see on the right side of the photo there, that is our education wing. And that is our camp entrance. So for us, what we found is right along the side here where the trees are, if we put signs that say art camp, camp, and pointing towards that entrance, that helps people know where they're supposed to go. Really, they should be parking in the parking lot and walking across there. Sometimes they park in this roadway. We do not encourage it, but they do whatever they would like to do. So that is, we do know that. So this is a little closer to you. And then here is the education wing. There are some of my signs and pictures showing you how we're letting you know where the art camp entrance is. These directional signs are very much needed. This was taken like a couple of weeks ago. So normally there'd be a signage that on these doors, again, should let people know this was the camp entrance and that they should have their photo ID. And then I have a desk. This desk is where I'll have the sign-in sheets for the camps. And then behind the desk, I have a TV that will have slides reminding them Tuesday's picture day. Make sure you're wearing your camp shirt that day, or surveys are on Thursday. Just information that they'll need. So here's a little close-up. Tuesday's picture day, wear your camp shirt. I have a room called the Art Space. It is always open whenever the museum is open. So when our campers come in and sign in, then they go into this room because it's 9 a.m., the museum is not open, and all of the campers go into here. And this is just the room that they're playing around in before the camp starts. So then I have in our education wing, I only have 2 classrooms. So I can only have 2 camps going on at any time. So this is another view of the art space. And then here is the art lab. And then this is the clay lab. So we don't necessarily just do clay in this room when it's summer camp. Because I can only do two camps. I do 2 camps in the morning and 2 camps in the afternoon. Our camps are either 9 a.m. to noon or 1 to 4 p.m. Currently, we are filling our camps that we do not need to provide early care or aftercare. I am the only full-time staff member, so if we did early care or aftercare, that might have to adjust my hours or have another full-time staff who would cover the hours if I left for the day. So that's one of the reasons we don't do that. Now, I do understand that is not reasonable or feasible for a lot of families. So as such, we try to do scholarships. And our goal is 10% of the camps to be scholarship recipients. All of our staff are either part-time staff, contract workers, or volunteers. Our volunteers have to be 18 and older, and everybody gets a level 2 background check. We actually cannot have teen volunteers, and that actually really hurts us because you do get a lot of high school students who are amazing, who are looking for those hours. So if you can have teen volunteers, I would encourage you. We are part of the College of Central Florida, and we have to abide by their human resources. And it's just the college's thing that they don't have volunteers under 18. We are now finding we do have college students under the age of 18. So that has thrown up a case-by-case conundrum where they want the college students to volunteer, but then the college students aren't old enough to volunteer. So we're still working through that. You can sign up for a morning camp and an afternoon camp. And if you do that, we set you up in the art space from noon to 1 p.m. And you can have your lunch in there and you're supervised when you're doing that. That is for our 8 to 12-year-old camps. We either do camps for 5 to 7-year-olds, 8 to 12-year-olds, or 12 to 17-year-olds. Now, when you're planning a camp, you have to think about what is it that makes your location special. Our location is, we're part of a museum. So every camp has to get a tour of the museum as part of the camp. And we want that at least one project relates to an artwork in the museum. That's always a fun thing to have them make the art and then get their photo in front of the inspiration art with the art that they've made. And we'll take individual shots of them and group shots as well. We have done camps where we've said it's inspired by this exhibit, and nobody signs up for that camp. They don't want boring museum camp. They want birds everywhere, or Minecraft. And it literally could still be that same camp that I said, we're going to the museum, we're doing this. It's just how you sell it. It can be the same content. It just has to have a fun description, a fun title. We just find those sell better than the ones that sound more academic, just because that's what they want to have. They want to have fun in the summer. For us as an art museum, we're going through a lot more consumables. We're also thinking to ourselves, are we using materials that they don't have in school? We try to use canvases. We try to use other materials, whether it be a fancier type of paint or wax pen that maybe they're not using. Now, our online registration is all online. It's through a program called WooFoo. And then from there, that information can be downloaded into an Excel spreadsheet. And we see through the whole of summer camp about 400 students. So our camp can hold about 16 kids per camp. We have gone over, say somebody has twins and they both need to be in it. We can go up 17, 18, but just given the sizes of our rooms and the amount of space that they need to create art for safety-wise, 16 to 18 is about as many as we can actually fit in that room. Now, our camp staff, they are either certified art teachers are professional artists. They do have their background checks. Our staff, we pay them $25 an hour. And we get really good teachers for that pay. It's competitive. People want to teach here. It looks nice on the resume that you've taught at an art museum or a museum. Our education assistants, the people who are not teaching but are helping, those would be my regular part-time staff. They get around $20 per hour. And we give them, just like Janet does, we give them a description, and then they are allowed to come up with their individual projects that they want for their camp. So it still gives them the creativity that they want, but under the auspices of what we want. We have found it easier to give them a lesson plan template because some of them are teachers, so they'll provide us with information I don't need. Also, they'll provide us, some of them go above and beyond, and this at least keeps all the lesson plans looking very similar. And I would say generally we need a lot less than what they have to provide for school. The other thing they do need to provide is a supply list, and that's important. We do, in April or May, a summer camp teacher meeting in which we go over a binder that has all the procedures for the camp and all the procedures for the teachers. And then they get a walkthrough of the building. And I'm pointing out every safety fire exit, every AED. I'm showing them how to lock the doors. We're talking about what do we do when we need to evacuate. If we have to evacuate the building, where are we going? Just get out. I want you to get the kids safe. For us, there's actually, there's a theater nearby that I actually think is too close. So there's a Catholic church behind us. And our goal is you're going to the Catholic church. Make it there. That's our meeting location. And unfortunately, just the way life is, you do have to think about these things. Better to be prepared and not need it than unprepared. So for us, how many total staff do you hire for the camps? Oh, that's a great question. I would say anywhere from 12 to 15 staff, because we get some people who they literally just want to do 1 week. And we don't have a huge, given the area I'm in, Ocala, I don't have a huge supply of teachers to reach out to. I have a limited number, so that is part of the reason why we pay them well. And we want to, even if you just want to teach 1 week, I'll do that because I'd rather have good teachers. So right now, this is our planning time. We're planning our themes and our descriptions. We're looking at what the camp dates are. So just like Janet, ours will be June 1st. January, I find right now, our teachers are just ready for the end of the year. That if I try to get them to confirm right now, this is not the time to do it. They're ready for the holiday. So I find January is the better time when they're rested, coming back to school. It's a little hectic, but that's when I can get them to confirm. And then for us at the museum, everything has to be finalized for approval to be printed January 30th. Mid-February, our information will be on our website, our brochures will be printed, and our teacher contract signed. Now for us, we pay them for 35 hours for one camp. Their camp is 15 hours that week, and we're paying for time before camp and time after camp for like setup and cleanup, because again, we have a lot of consumables, and there's a lot of, you have to clean that room for the next camp to come in. And we give them 10 hours planning time, because if you're trying a new art project, you need to try it out yourself. Granted, you can waste 10 hours just going on Pinterest, finding art projects. That's why we have a limit of we just do 10 hours prep. What you want to do beyond that is at your own time, because some people, as I said, will spend 10 hours on Pinterest and haven't actually worked out their projects. Beginning in March, that's when our registration starts. I will tell you, I will start getting phone calls in January about when summer camp registration starts. We traditionally, what I inherited, they were doing registrations in April, which was too late, really. And March, everybody's been so much happier with us. I think we could do it even sooner and they'd be even more happier with us. But given that I'm the only full-time person on staff, right now it works for this time range. April, we'll have a teacher meeting. Lesson plans and supply lists are due. This is when we order t-shirts. You get, because we have, our camps are 3 hours, either 9 to 12 or 1 to 4. Somebody could do 10 or 12 camps with us in a year. So we were having some people wanted 10 t-shirts and other people would say, no, I don't want 10 t-shirts. And it just, you never knew how much to order. So now we say you get 1 t-shirt for the first camp that you've registered for that. Any other t-shirt, it's an additional $10. And that helps us limit how many extra t-shirts we're ordering and that we're not having waste. May, we're ordering supplies, and then we also buy snacks like chips and water. I mean, we don't buy the water. We used to do lemonade, now it's just water, but we'll go to like Sam's Club and we provide something. I'll be honest, if we stop the snacks, I would love that because of allergies. Kids love to share their food, even when they're not supposed to share their food. And that is harder to keep an eye on. So we do have a rule of you can't share your food. The younger ones seem to have a problem with that or not understand it as much. So I would just say allergies can be an issue, but that's why we ask that if people bring snacks, you're nut free. We always, make sure if somebody's having a snack and we know that week we have somebody with a nut allergy, then nobody's eating anything with nuts that week. How many total campers do you have per day? If I do 4 camps, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, I will have a total of 64. So 32 in the morning and 32 in the afternoon. Also, we are part of the College of Central Florida. So just recently, CS has a vintage farm, and we've actually done a camp out on their vintage farm site where they meet us at that location. They sign in and out there, and they have a classroom. They have horses and chickens, and we paint and draw outside. Then we're inside in the AC. It's very farm inspired. We're in a rural community. Now, so for us, drop off, even though we say camp is 9 to 12, drop off is really 8:45 to 9. They're waiting outside. Because I have that separate entrance, we keep that door locked when camp's going on, and I have a security guard stationed in the rotunda at all times. That door is only unlocked during drop-off and pickup. The kids gather in the art space, then we found we have to do roll call, because even though there are 2 classrooms, the kids will end up in the wrong classroom. I do not know how it is possible. It is literally 32 kids. How is this possible? Yes, you always have to do roll call. Somebody will wander off. They're half awake, half asleep. They're not paying attention to what they're doing. And some of the teachers are used to me like adding on random children at the last minute to them. So they don't question like, oh, I have a random child I didn't know. They're just used to, oh, okay, I have to make do. And it's, no, the child's in the wrong camp. We work, I would say my goals for camp, number 1, safety, number 2, fun. So safety first, fun second. We are not school. Then we take a break. Break is about 30 minutes. That's walking around the museum, walking outside, maybe looking at a particular art and having snacks, doing a bathroom break. And then the second half, 11:45 to 12, we do a pickup. If the guardian is not there by 12:15, we call. And I made the mistake of, oh, we know the guardian. There's probably a reason why they're running late. I'm just going to be nice and not call them. No, they're like at home falling asleep. So it's better to follow your protocols of, okay, I call at 12:15. Because here I thought I was being nice, like, oh, I know them, they're probably on their way. No, they were at home asleep. So again, here I was trying to be polite. No, follow what you're supposed to do. Again, the PM camp, that's a little more different, and same with the pickups of the AM camp, because our museum is open at that time and people can go into the art space. We will block off in the hallway and literally put stanchions up to block people from going down the hallway. Even when those classroom doors close, people are nosy. I'm a nosy person. They want to know what's going on. Generally, it's not nefarious. It's just they're curious. We get some older folks who just like seeing the kids make art. That they're very sweet. But for safety reasons, I don't want people going back there. So we put stanchions up and we stop people from going back to where the classrooms are. Somebody just asked, how many staff do we have? Well, I'm going to be sitting there at that Rotunda camp, Rotunda desk, doing the check-in, check-out. We have a teacher in each camp, and then 2 education assistants. One who's going to be assisting with the 5 to 7-year-old camp. We find they need an extra assistant just with the type of art we want to do. It's hard to handle. And then we have a second assistant who is setting up snacks, running around, just problem shooting. That one we can do without if need be, but we prefer to have it. So it would be 4 in the morning. And then those 2 education assistants might be the ones in the afternoon as well. And we have some teachers who want to teach AM and PM. Now, when it comes to teachers, I have to be honest with you, I love our public school teachers because they are used to the bare minimum and having so many extra kids thrown at them and no materials and being asked for the impossible at all times. That they are just amazing in how they respond to situations and pressures. They really have that experience of having to deal with like not having no resources and still having to figure out how to make it work. So they're really good at troubleshooting and problem solving. So I really love our public school teachers. I just think they're phenomenal. Now, really important one is I email families a few days before camp. I remind them where to sign in, where to enter the building. Like Janet said, people will not read their emails, even though we say, please give us an email that you will respond to. Nope, it goes to grandma email that nobody ever responds to. Also, our museum is closed on Mondays, so that tends to panicking parents go, is camp happening on Mondays? Yes, camp happens on Mondays. We have to have that multiple places on our website because they will look for it in like non-camp places, almost like ours. Like we need them to know, yes, we are still open. That's where having that logistical info for families is really important. One of the best things we ever did, and I spent 4 years working at Disney's Conservation Day Camp, where I escorted 16 5-year-olds around Disney's Animal Kingdom in Epcot, and I've never known terror quite like that. And once I've done that, I can do anything in life. I know every bathroom there intimately. The best thing I ever did was removing the year from our summer camp t-shirt. So if you're a smaller museum and you cannot afford to reprint like 400 shirts every year, take the year off your shirt, and then whatever you don't use, you can use the next year. It's reusable. Maybe after a couple of years, you want to switch up the style. We did that. We switched out the color. But that was a great money saver. The same with the saying only one camp or one shirt, no matter how many camps you sign up for. That saved us on that extra cost there. How many square feet is the education wing? Oh, great. I think the museum is 90,000 square feet. The rooms, that's a great question. I can look that up once we go to questions. I would say do roll call. Really important one, I've had this happen to me. The computer system has gone down, or the electricity in the building has gone down. And say I had all my emergency contact just on my computer, that would have been very, very bad. So that is where having a printout of your emergency forms and your registration is very important. We also have a to-go bag in each classroom. It's labeled AM, PM, and it has that registration information in there and first aid. So say a teacher wants to go walk around the museum with their camp, they're going to pick up that bag and take them with them. So say they need to evacuate, it has their camp registration with them. Also, again, they have to leave the building from the classroom, they can just grab that bag and they're gone. I don't want them to have to figure out, where did I put my registration? Where is it? Because in the heat of the moment, just leave. I want you and the kids to get out safe. Really important, we used a little label maker, the physical address on all of our phones. I know the address, but with contract teachers, they're not going to remember. Just like Janet, we found that physical surveys work so much easier. Also, for us, on Fridays, they're more ready to leave. So we find that if we give them to them Thursday for pickup and Friday drop off, those are like the sweet spots for getting surveys back. Then our sign-in, you can sign in and it says who is picking up your camper today, because some kids have like 5 or 6 people who could potentially pick them up in a given week. And just like Janet, we always check photo ID. I actually do get a lot of pushback on this. It'll be people like, you've known me for years. I go, I know, it's our policy. This is what we do. We ask it of everybody. I asked the president of the college for his ID. And then I've had people give me a hard time and then they leave, and the parents behind that person are like, thank you so much for what we do. We really feel safer knowing that you're sitting there. So I would say that photo ID thing, yeah, I'm constantly getting pushback on it, but it is what it is. I'm not going to change it. It's for their child's safety. It's for my safety. We actually have cameras in the museum. So I'll say, well, you know, I need it on that camera that I looked at your ID, should something happen. And we have had, kid has been properly checked out, and then there was miscommunication, and another parent has come to pick that child up. And luckily, we knew we had followed protocol. It was the parent was mistaken. They were not the one picking up that day. We've also had it where you can't just let the kid go with mom and dad or dad if they are not on your list, even if it's mom or dad, because sometimes there are custodial issues. And we've been told, like, hey, just let you know. And actually, I really appreciate it when they give us a heads up that there are custodial issues and one parent is not allowed to pick up the child. Because sometimes you're in the middle of something that you don't know about. And, oh, they're going with their mom or dad. No, there's a reason they're not allowed to go with their mom or dad. So you can't just go with who you think they should be allowed to go with. You have to go with who it says on your form they are allowed to go with. And yes, I will call. And I do call families. And I have called dad when it was mom picking up because I didn't know mom and mom wasn't on the list. But actually, they really appreciated that one, so I appreciated that too. We used to post photos on our Facebook page, and now we're using a website called PixieSet. And Pixie Set is like a wedding photographer online repository, and it's actually got a paid model, $8 to $10 a month. And I will do photos for every camp and then send a link to the parents that they can look at the photos. Right now, they can download them for free, but you could do it. There's a paid way to do it, and you would make money from selling the photos. For us, we do it for all camps, but sometimes life happens and somebody will have forgotten to take photos for 2 days. So we don't really emphasize it. It is called Pixie Set, Pixieset, Pixie Set. We got huge amount of really popular feedback of everybody really loved it. For us, we take photos of them with the art, showing off the art, the process of the art. We don't allow parents in the classroom for safety reasons. It's only people who've gone through level 2 background checks. So this allows people to see camp and what's going on in the camp, and then they can share it, and they can share it with friends and family on social media, and that's a great way to promote your camp. So often that picture day, that's a great way. The photos with the sunflowers are at the CF Vintage Farm that we did an off-site camp. Now, next, this is just sort of showing you how we've grown and what our prices were for things. So I'll be honest with you, when I started, we were not charging enough. We weren't losing money, we weren't making a lot of money. And so it's had to go up. Just to let you know how many weeks of camp that we do, how many of them are 5 to 7s. That's really been our age that's grown. 5 to 7s fill up, and we don't have any extra space. 8 to 12s really has been our bread and butter. And then our teen camps are really hard for us to fill. They just, time of day, there are a variety of reasons. They are harder. We've done a drawing camp for teens, and we called it Skulls and Skeletons. Well, that made it sound cooler than just like teen drawing. So again, it's how you market it. We do a member price and a non-member price. And so we had 394 campers. And my first year, we had 178. And again, I'm the only full-time staff. And then this is 34% of our camps were 5 to 7-year-olds last year. 55% were 8 to 12. And then we were interested in knowing what was the age range. What were we really getting? So you really see like 11 and older, those are our weaker numbers. Really 13 and older, it's 15 numbers that are really, but we have to make sure we couldn't just focus on 5 to 7s because they grow, they get older. We got to make sure we have some older camps that they're looking forward to going into. I will say, just like Janet, we did a Minecraft summer art camp, and we called it Pixels and Blocks. And all of our stuff was art-based. So there is a way to do popular culture. We couldn't call it Minecraft camp. We called it Pixels and Blocks, but still make it relatable to art in our museum. And maybe look at art that somehow relates to it. The pictures that you take of camp are great for photos for grants. And also, this is where you need to be writing down qualitative surveys or qualitative stories that people have told you. Like a kid who was shy, who came out of their shell, and they made this great piece, or they had this amazing connection in front of this one artwork. Those are stories your donors want to hear. Those are stories that help on grants. Those are even if it's just a 1-week camp, you can get a lot of really good data and stories from it. All right, and we are available for questions.
Thank you, Hollis. Thank you, Janet. We really appreciate it. Looks like we've got some more questions popping up. We've got one from Leslie. Is your 145 per week? And
Yeah, yeah, just for 3 hours. It's for a 3 hour camp, and we're filling it. So there's no need other than we want to reach different. Like my parents would not have been able to send me to a half day camp. I would have needed a full day camp, and I understand that, and that's why our goal is 10% of all of our camps are scholarships. So we gave out like 34 scholarships for this past uh, summer camp for 394 campers. 34 of them were scholarship recipients. And we find that summer camp, just like Janet said, these are programs that grow with people. This is how you sell family membership. This is the kid will start as a young child and grow with you. We are part of the College of Central Florida. I have met college students who have done this summer art camp since I've been there. So in my 8 years, they were a camper and now are in college.
Casey asked about your art space size. I think you said you were going to have to look that up. Is that correct? Like you
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um, Caroline wants to know from Janet, you mentioned your behavior plan. Can you elaborate on your behavior plan, or maybe you could even consider sharing it in the future?
Yeah, I'm happy to share it out. It's called Behavior and Discipline. It's about 3 paragraphs to ensure the safety and comfort of all participants. Students will keep their hands and feet to themselves. They'll listen and follow directions. They'll respect Mosey staff, property, and fellow students. And then it talks, about educational setting that is safe, secure, and free from harassment and bullying, and what bullying is. That includes cyberbullying, stalking. The last paragraph talks about if the above expectations are not followed, the instructors will handle it with discussion and reason. Parents will be informed. If it happens again, they'll isolate the child from activities for a short time. If it continues, they'll be sent to the program manager who will talk to the child and notify the parent. And Mosey reserves the right to remove any child from a program with no refund or credit if the child's disruptive behavior continues. Sorry, that was long-winded.
Covers everything.
We tried.
Okay, so Hannah Hayes asks a good question. What do you do when you don't have all the staff and just one full-time staff who can do a camp? What are your suggestions? I know that Hollis mentioned volunteers that had to be 18 or older to help out. Any thoughts on that? Janet, do you use volunteers to help with the camp?
We just have high school volunteers, so we would never leave them alone in charge of the camp.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm fortunate that our camp is large enough to where I usually can have a teacher assistant cover the camp because we have like 6 teacher assistants every day, in
Yeah.
addition to our at least 10 to 11 teachers. And I always have some Mosey backup staff, like I can jump in and teach, or our camp director, Ian, can jump in and teach as needed. So we usually have a couple backups in place.
I think for us being in a
That way.
university town, we always have education students and graduate students who are looking for more things for their resume. So I always felt like we always had lots of people volunteering or willing to take maybe not a lot of pay for summer camp. Hollis?
So I just called somebody to ask how big my art space was. My art space is 1,300 square feet, and each classroom, my 2 classrooms, the art lab and clay lab, are about 650 square feet. So that's why we can only fit 65. Yeah, Ocala, Laura, is different than a college town or even the Tampa Bay area of just what we can get volunteer-wise.
Yeah.
Of what people want. Some people don't want to be as hands-on with the kids. They want to be a little distant. It just really depends. But for us, for how do we market our camps, online, the brochures, and honestly, having the teachers really promote the camps. Some of those teachers, they have followings. They have favorite students who will come and sign up just because their favorite teacher. We got this amazing preschool teacher. Her camp was the first one sold out because everybody wanted her camp. And then her second camp was the second one that sold out. I think having the good teachers, they can be word of mouth. For somebody who only has one full-time staff, my predecessor, I'm an administrator. My predecessor was an art teacher. So they started with her doing the majority of the teaching, all the art camps. It is possible. Do one small, good quality.
Leslie Shoders asked if you take campers on field trips. I know, Janet, you can expand on that since you said you bus some students to Kennedy Space Center.
We do some field trips. We don't do a ton of them, but traditionally we take our rocket science and our cosmic ventures camp, which is 4th and 5th grade and middle school, to Kennedy Space Center. All of our high school camps go somewhere. We do Pasco Sheriff's Office. We did at USF, they have an Inventors Hall of Fame, and one of our camps is talking about innovating and inventing, so we take them there. Depending on the size of the camp, we'll either charter a bus. We have a good deal with one of the companies here, or if we can get like a 15 passenger van cheaper for the day, we'll do that.
Okay. Joseph asked, how do you begin the collaboration process for implementing scholarships into your camps? Joseph, do you mean like where the funding comes from?
Like, who do you need to speak to, or how do you begin that conversation with potential people who would be giving out scholarships? Where do you start?
I think you write up a perspective of what you're asking for, how much, and what do they get in return. So for some of ours, we'll have a scholarship recipient will write a thank you letter. And that's how they can either get like a picture of one of the artworks the kids created. But you can have it on your website for ways to support. When you have information, you're asking for donations, you can say, well, for $100, you could sponsor one child for summer camp. And that's way. Another way is then targeting that to specific businesses, local banks, credit unions. They are often looking at ways of supporting the community. They might sponsor your t-shirts if you put their logo on your t-shirt, and then they pay for it. So it's really just being creative and reaching out to the community.
Yeah, we also look for grant opportunities, and we're fortunate to have Children's Board who are very generous to do it every year.
I think a lot of organizations get really excited because they can actually visually see what's happening with education programs. So I think you just have to be willing to make the ask.
And even if you're thinking about asking for next year, invite some of them to come tour your camps this summer so they see what you're doing and set yourself up for next year.
That's a great idea.
And that's where having those photos are helpful too.
Mm-hmm. Katrina says, does anyone have a good company for chartering? Are you talking about like chartering like buses?
Disney,
yes,
they always
we don't have our own bus. Yes, we don't have our own bus, and when we just rent from Enterprise, then it's the person's, we're driving it, and it's kind of a hot mess sometimes.
We use Recreation Express, and they give us a good deal, but I'm not sure. I know they do Hillsborough and Pasco and maybe Pinellas.
Yeah, we're Palm Beach County.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'll be honest, that's one of the things I love about not going on field trips with camp.
It sounds like a couple.
Yeah, no, it absolutely, as I said, I've never known terror quite like escorting children through Disney World, and that was every day for 9 to 10 weeks. So, I did that for 4 years, and it's very, very terrifying.
You could also like have your development department, or I don't know if you have a development department, we don't really, but ask them if they can find a charter bus company that'll cut you a deal if you advertise them on your website or put their logo in your camp catalog. They might cut you a deal.
That's a great idea.
Or their logo on the back of the camp shirts.
All right. Well, it's a little bit after 12. I want to thank everybody for coming, but before you go, I just want to kind of give you a little heads up on our next webinar, which is going to be Tuesday, January 27th. It's also going to be at 11 o'clock. Don't know if the education staff are interested in this, but it's Collections on the Move, Practical Low-Cost Strategies for Museum Moving and Storage with Sarah Smith. She's the registrar at the Tampa Art Museum, or Tampa Museum of Art. If you are not interested, please pass this information on to your collections people, your collections staff, because I think it can be really helpful. I know she's going to talk about doing some things on a budget, just moving all the complications that happen with collections. So that's that. Thank you so much for coming. If you get an opportunity, please fill out the survey. It will get emailed to you soon.